It is time to pull your phone out and make a change because Brandon Aiyuk will not be playing against the New York Football Giants tonight.
And that makes perfect sense.
Sure.
Because he's not 100%, and you don't need him to beat the Giants. And the football season's a long season, so why would you try to risk him getting more injured? And I don't believe the whole thing about, it can't get any worse. I guess it can. I don't know what the shoulder injury is, but
yeah, it looked like it hurt like hell on Sunday.
Yeah, and then he went in the locker room and he came out and he suddenly was feeling better, which was,
a miraculous recovery.
It was a total miracle. Shout out Advil or whatever it is he had. But yeah, I don't understand that in terms of, why would you want to rush him out there in September in a game that you probably should win anyway?
Well, I wonder. I don't know how he's feeling. I don't know what the doctors are saying. I completely trust the 49ers on this, particularly because the answer is that he's staying out. I think that's a comfortable thought for everyone. They get a week and a half off. Expect him to be out there against Arizona in a week and a half. But you did say something in there that I think is I don't know if dangerous is the right word. It's the way everyone sort of responds to it. But they can beat this team without him. Yeah, you'd think. And I'm not going to make it all about Brandon Aiyuk. Tonight's not given. But I'm interested. I'm interested to see what exactly the 49ers do to try to make up for this. Is it a much bigger night for George Kittle? George Kittle is a guy who has not really been targeted that much so far this year.
He hasn't.
And I feel like he's at that spot in his career where that part of his game might start to really slide consistently. He might, he still can do it, but is he more involved in the run game? Is he more of a decoy at times? But maybe tonight is the night with no Brandon Aiyuk out there, a little bit of a security blanket. Does Ronnie Bell get some extra run? Does Juwan Jennings get some extra run? I'm kind of fascinated to see what Kyle does here.
Right, and I do think that by and large they will stay with the same sort of personnel in terms of 2 running backs, 1 tight end, and it'll just be Jennings in instead of Aiyuk, or maybe some Ronnie Bell in place of Jennings, or depending on how they're going to do it. And Lucas with the starters, it's going to be Ray McLeod is listed behind Aiyuk in terms of who might start
as a 2
at that receiver spot.
He's listed ahead of Ronnie Bell, yes.
So that's fine. And ultimately, when you talk about this team and what they do, a lot of it is piecemeal anyway as far as how they do it. So it's 21 personnel, but McCaffrey goes out as a wide receiver a lot. And, you've got Debo who acts as a running back a lot. So do they get Ray McLeod the ball as a running back a little bit in place of Debo?
I mean, Guru asked us about a half hour ago, give us a scenario where you see the Giants keeping this close. I mean, I'll say something with the names that you just threw out. Ray McLeod and Ronnie Bell, both talented guys, but both also very turnover-prone players.
Yeah.
Okay? Ray's got a fumbling history. We watched what Ronnie Bell did in the preseason, which was dynamic at times, and also he owned the biggest mistakes of the entire preseason.
Yeah.
Balls that bounced off his hands and went for interceptions for the other team. He fumbled as well. So that's one thing I will absolutely be looking at tonight. Are these guys that now move up the depth chart, are they ready to rock in a primetime football game and do the things that you got to do to make sure this becomes a W? And for me, that starts with don't turn the ball over. Here's one statement I'll make about that. If the Niners do exactly what they've done so far, if they do not turn the ball over, there is 0 chance they lose this game. 0.
Wow. Okay. I mean, there's always a chance, but in terms of if they don't turn it over, what about if they end up punting it 9 times? You got 99 problems and a Mitch ain't one. So
right, but this
you
is
don't
an
turn
opinion.
it over.
I'm not yet.
I know, I'm with you, and I'm not trying to shoot bullet holes in your opinion because I think that largely you were right. And you and I talked about it last segment or during the crossover. What does it look like in terms of them losing this game? Is it Daniel Jones throwing for 380 and 4 touchdowns? Not that likely. Is it them getting 180 or 200 yards on the ground and keeping the ball and gashing you in the run game? Not likely.
Not likely.
Is it you turn it over once or twice in terms of a fumbled punt, they have a short field, or you throw a pick six, and that's 6 points. That, to me, is the most likely way that you lose it. So to your point, if you don't turn it over, and you said that they have zero chance of losing, I would say it's greater than zero, but I would put it less than 5%.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean,
I don't either, Mark.
Yeah, I think that there are a few keys that if you're the defensive coordinator, if you're Wilkes, you're looking at this and you're going, be aware of some receivers with the Giants who are young guys who you probably don't know very well. You haven't faced Justin Hyatt. He's a rookie. Hodgins, who got deep against the Cardinals last week. They've got some speed. They've got some young receivers who can really go vertical. Play it exactly like you did last week against the Rams. Keep everybody in front of you at all times, and you're not going to get beat for quick scores. But that's the formula if you're the Giants, because you're right. They're not going to ground and pound. There's no Saquon. But does Breida find a hole, as we know he can, and become the cheetah? Once you get over the top twice, you get a funny bounce and get a pick six 3 times. That's how this becomes a close game. And I think the 49ers are going to be ready for that.
They should be. And, ball control is something that you can't really prepare for because the defense can make a good play and punch one out. Or you can have a ball get tipped at the line of scrimmage and a defender slides under it, and that's a pick, and that's unfortunate. Not all turnovers are created equally, and a lot of times when you're dealing with an oblong object like the football, funky things can happen. And the Niners last year were number 1 in the NFL in turnover differential. So there is an expectation that they would regress to the mean. You usually don't do that well in turnovers back-to-back years. So is this one of those games where weird things happen and, the turnover bug bites you? I would hope not, but that to me would be the equalizer in this game more so than, any other game where if you're playing Dallas, okay, when Dallas comes here and it's Monday night, if you're both 4-0, you'll probably be 3.5-point favorites, right? 3.5 or 4. I don't think it'll be less than a field goal. It'll be right in there. And that's a game where a turnover can really swing it.
Absolutely. But it's funny, looking at turnover differential, I know it's so young. Like, we're only 2 games in.
Is it a small sample, Mark?
It's a very small sample.
We don't like to do small sample on this show.
Yes. Dallas Cowboys, obviously number 1 in turnover differential. They're at +7. The other injury news that we referenced earlier is the fact, if you're just joining us, that their top corner, Pro Bowl corner, Trayvon Diggs, tore his ACL in practice today. So he's out for the season, and now that defense in the backfield is scrambling a little bit to figure that out. But number 1 is the Cowboys at +7. The 49ers are tied for 4th at +3. But I'm also noticing that the Cardinals, of all teams, are right behind the Niners at +2, which means the Cowboys are +7 and the Cardinals are +2. What do those 2 teams have in common so far this year?
I don't know. They've played twice?
No, they're both of the New York Giants opponents.
Ah, gotcha.
And
where are the Giants in that list, Mark?
The New York Football Giants, scrolling. Oh, look at them. -4,
Oh,
only one team in the NFL has a worse turnover differential. That would be the Minnesota Vikings at -6 and sitting at 0-2. Yeah, you can look at turnover differential, and it almost always tells you a very specific story. It is going to directly attach to your record. The only, and again, only because it's very early. If this were to play out over a full season, it wouldn't work. But maybe the biggest outlier, one of the teams, there's only 4 teams at -4, and the Vikings at -6. One of the teams at -3, the Detroit Lions, which is interesting with the number of points they've been able to score and a road win at the Chiefs. But largely, if you look at this board, I will bet you at the end of the year, it will read like the standings.
Right,
if you're
it
up
usually
there on
does.
turnover differential, you're going to be good. If you're down at the bottom, you're going to stink.
And you're hard-pressed to overcome that week in and week out. So if your differential is negative, that shows that you either don't take it away very often, which is what the Niners were a couple years ago. They did not take the ball away very much. Last year they had a number of takeaways. They got so much better at that. And this year they've been really Spartan in terms of giving it away. And that's where, as we talk about tonight, and the Giants game here now 3 hours away, that's where this game, I think, as an underdog, that's what you're looking for to turn it your way.